All right, so today's topic is going to be on today's topic today's topic is going to be about setting standards and limitations. Setting standards and limitations and how that can aid in creativity itself. Uh because so creativity within itself works very, very well with limitations, right? A prime example is you go ahead and you create a limitation. Let's say you can only use certain colors or you can only use certain mediums, and it is said that in there was this book, The Pitch Without um, something manifesto. I want to get the right thing for you, but it basically says that many artists they see uh, they see commitment as a closed door, um, which with like a gray hallway and it's boring and stuff like that. And I think that it's not necessarily like that. At least like when you decide that you're going to limit and and commit, because that's really what a limitation is. You're making a commitment. When you decide to commit uh to a whether and in this case we're talking about standards, but when you decide to commit, what that is saying is that these are the limitations that I have, and this is how I'm going to best use my limitations. And they eventually become a superpower because they invoke and they promote creativity, right? Understanding those limitations and creating limitations for yourself is very, very important, especially as a creative, because the amount of options that we have to ourselves, very there's so many options that we have, and it can get you can get diluted very quickly. At least your creativity can get very diluted. You can pick from a plethora of cameras, from a plethora of lenses. um, you can pick from a whole bunch of instruments. And this is not going against saying, oh, you can't do everything or don't do everything. I think you can in the long run. In the short run, commitments need to be made to create any level of progress that you can see and feel. And you can feel progress as you can feel the progress as a challenge, as the fact that things are difficult and are causing you to rethink and reconfigure how you move and how you do things is a that's a sign, one, of a limitation, and two, of you creating and developing that standard and becoming more committed, right? That's a great thing. That's a great thing to have, especially as a creative, because you need, like I said, you need limitations. You need to, and to truly reap the best out of you and to be the most creative that you can be. You need to learn how to commit, right? Another example is, so I'll give you an example. I have the this podcast set up on a specific spot right here. uh, and a part of me has always thought about, well, I could always go outside and record this maybe at a park. All really great ideas. Now, how does creating a limit or a standard uh, help with commitment? Because also commitment helps a lot with consistency. By having a setup in a specific space, you are committing to that specific space and committing to the consistency of that specific space, right? And it helps tremendously to not create wishy-washy or create, you know, it, it helps to not create unmovable things. And one of the biggest reasons people see chasing their creativity as a very unstable or unreliable venture is due to that lack of commitment individuals might have themselves, right? Some people need others in order for them to make commitments, right? And if you are somebody who knows how to make commitments and knows how to set standards for yourself, you can take on a venture as a creative professional. You absolutely can, because as you evolve, as you change, as you get better, you're going to see that there are certain things that you simply cannot allow yourself to do anymore. Granted, you'll also have more freedom, right? As a creative professional, you're going to have more freedom. You're going to be able to do more things, and you're just going to have more freedom than the average individual. And how you handle that freedom is based on the standard by which you uphold yourself to. What do you let yourself do when you go outside, right? Or if you got more money or more power, or you got more time, how do you spend that, right? Time more important than anything else, you know? And creating a list. I'm a big fan of creating a list that you get done every single day, and it helps keep you focused as well. Having your primary list, like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Well, I know I gotta cook. I know I have to pray. I know I have to shower. I know I have to do a workout eventually throughout the day. And the more you configure yourself to understand these limitations, and to understand the standards that you're creating for yourself, the better off you'll be in the long run. You'll have a lot more consistency, because the answer becomes that much more clearer as to where you're supposed to go and how you're supposed to go about doing things. It's very, very simple, and simplicity is something that helps a lot. Being creative is very good for you. Period. We all know that. And so, in understanding where that creativity lies is very important, right? Because you might need to figure something out differently than you did yesterday along those limitations and standards that you created for yourself. Think about that. Like, you created this hallway, or you created this, not even just a hallway, you just created these like these boundaries. You created like these things, and you're saying, okay, we have to make the best out of what we're given these boundaries, and ultimately grow alongside those, and I think that's a beautiful thing to learn how to do, because that's what life ultimately becomes. Like, a lot of times people end up having they have kids. That's a limitation. That's a standard that they set for themselves. People go and commit to going to a specific school, and doing a specific program. That's a commitment that you are doing, and it's ultimately going to set a standard for yourself. Other things, programs and all kinds of things. A marriage, people marry, and they're creating these limitations and these boundaries for themselves so that they can ultimately grow. That's what you're doing when you make a commitment. You are saying, I am choosing to grow alongside this thing and let it change and evolve me for the better, right? And that's a really great thing to do, in any venture that you go into, because, hey, well, it's basically you're taking your own self growth into account. You're taking your own self mastery into account, and making it your responsibility to constantly get better and better every single day, right? And there are a whole bunch of things that help get better and continuously progress. A prime example is, well, hey, you have self mastery, and everything that falls in line with that is you got to develop principles for yourself. Principles is a level of limitations. If you're a respectful individual, if you're a committed individual, if you're a hygienic individual, they're just things that you're gonna have to commit towards. You know what I'm saying? And it's in setting those values and setting those standards for yourself that you begin to grow and develop something that's really, really great and really strong and sturdy. And Like I said, especially as a creative, one of the biggest reasons people don't take on their creativity is due to their lack of commitment. That's the only real thing I've seen, which people aren't willing to commit to it. And of course, there are many, many that do, and that's great, and they reap the benefits of freedom. Ultimately, I do believe that everybody has, like, everybody's given handcuffs. Ultimately, I feel like everybody's given handcuffs, and this is like an analogy. Uh, Everybody's given handcuffs. I think it really just depends who gives them to you and what color are they. Right now, for example, um, just because you have more quote unquote freedom as a creative, uh, that's elusive. It's not true because you still have things that you actually have to do and get done, right? And it's on you to do it. You're basically, you're your own child. You're taking, you're your own parent, if that makes sense. You're your own parent, and you're taking care of yourself in that way, where it's like, hey, I can't just binge on sweets. I can't just binge on whatever, like watching something dumb on the internet, or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't afford, there's just certain things that you can't afford with your time, and that becomes very, very prevalent, because if you don't set those standards for you, somebody else will. And hey, that's fine. Maybe some people like that. Some people enjoy having other people set forms of structure for them. That's cool. If you don't, you're gonna have to learn how to actually set those standards for yourself. And ultimately, you have to learn how to educate yourself. You have to learn how to you have to learn how to educate yourself, and how to learn, and how to find all these things for yourself, because that's the only thing that really, you know that's what gets you progress. That's what develops you and structures you in a better format. So yeah, for these episodes, I've really been trying to, I don't know if you realize I'm not holding a mic. I have like a lav right here, uh and I'm gonna see how the audio sounds and everything. um but I want to develop a bit more of, I want to have more joyfulness in these episodes. I think that's really good to have joyfulness, and I know that you hate being bored ultimately, and life is a lot better when you get to laugh. There's a lot of things that could be serious, and there's a lot of things that actually need to be funny and need to be um, laughed at. There are challenges that simply, hey, you'll take on, and you can't commit to, and you'll know that. You'll figure that out. You'll see it. You'll be like, I can't fucking commit to that. You'll drop the weight, and that happens. That Those are things that happen, and you have to learn how to actually develop and how to move with that. You know, there's all kinds of really cool things that um, you could do and develop and grow for yourself. You know, Advocacy for yourself is very important. I practice that shit every morning, every single morning. That's how I'm doing it right now. And I know, and it helps tremendously with sales. It helps tremendously with your own self-image. I mean, think about it. The world itself is going to shit at you. Period. It's going to, just the law of entropy itself, from relationships and everything, people are going through it around you. And if you can develop a practice of constantly pouring good things into yourself, pouring kind, loving words into yourself, and appreciating yourself out loud and expressing yourself out loud, I mean, dude, that's going to be amazing for you. In the long run, that's going to be amazing for you. And you'll see the progress. You'll see it. Because ultimately, all right, you'll be in a conversation. You'll be in some sort of, you'll have a conversation with someone, and maybe it doesn't go well on their side. That happens all the time. It doesn't go well on their side. Something ticks them off, or whatever it is. They could be having a bad day, all kinds of things. And you can remain you can remain still, you can remain structured because you know that you have a really good relationship with yourself, right? And you can sit with that. You can sit with that. You can genuinely sit with that because, well, hey, and it's not in a way where it's like, if they're not happy, screw them. No, not at all. It's, hey, I've made the effort and the work to make myself happy, so I can rest assured that whenever this person's ready to come back around, I will create a safe space for them to do so. And it's going to be kind, it's going to be loving, it's going to be great. And one more thing is, make sure you're having more than just one conversation a day. Have multiple conversations a day with multiple people. Very important, because one thing, you might make one person happy, but then you might not make another happy. And that's just how things are. And you can't format your life around making this one person very happy and extremely, that's not how things work. It's not how things work. Granted, you're not always happy yourself. Your own emotional state constantly changes. And so you have to be able to always, you have to be there you got to be there for yourself. You got to really take care of yourself, listen to yourself and say, hey, how are you? What's going on? And listen. Everybody's got two voices. Everybody's got a very, independent, very like super responsible voice, strategic, structured voice. And then everybody has a very small, playful, childish, not even just childish, but it's just creative voice that thinks about all kinds of stuff and puts all kinds of things together. And the health of both matter tremendously. Because think about it. If you're constantly structured, you'll never make anything. You'll never make anything because you'll constantly plan and be hard on yourself for not doing anything. And then on one side, if you're constantly creative, you'll never grow anything either because you'll just spread yourself thin trying to do 1,000 things, right? The health of both is very important, right? And you could develop both. How do you develop both? Well, you have to develop both in a way by, well, like you just saw me, I asked myself a question. Ask yourself questions. Ask yourself questions and answer it. Answer it truthfully. How do you think about these things? What do you think about these things? Right? Be the first to figure things out in your life. And the more you get used to that feedback system with yourself, you can begin to develop better sense of leadership, right? Leadership, very important in today's world. You got to learn how to lead. You got to learn how to be the first. You are a leader already in your life. You just don't know it. You're a leader. You know what I'm saying? You're the first one to wake up. You're the first one in everything. Everything. Whether you choose to take on the leadership position or not, it's yours. And that's really it. And your best, seeing it and recognizing it now, because then otherwise you'll be like, okay, oh, yeah. And another thing comes with that. You have to take full responsibility of it, of everything. You take full responsibility of everything that's going on, and you say, hey, if I'm not happy, it's my fault. If this is going on, it's my fault. And you don't have to shit on yourself either. You could simply just say, hey, this is what we're going to do to fix it. This is how we're going to readjust. And this is how we're going to make, you get to lead. That's the leadership position. The leadership position is where you get to understand, guide, and take yourself to a better location and a better place. Right. And in addition to that, when you develop that self leadership and relationship with yourself, you get to see when other people are really messed up in the head. When like your demon identification becomes really good. You get really good at that. You got to get really good at that, because people, they got demons on them all the time, even yourself. And when you see them, you got to make sure, hey, I'm going to meditate or, do a bit of shadow work, because, you never know what this person might try to fucking, there's all kinds of shit, bro. All kinds of shit. So it's good to have an indication for that. And the best way to develop it is, of course, developing a good relationship with yourself. Because if you have a really good relationship with yourself, right, you're going to be like, oh, I'm good. I'm not bugging, right? And you need that. You really need that, because otherwise you'll go through life constantly looking to please other people. And other people have their own lives. They have their own stuff going on. And you got to be able to have a conversation, a real conversation with yourself. Where you sit and you go, hey, how are you? I'm good. What's going on today? I don't know. I want to go eat something. What do you want to eat? I want to eat fucking. You get the point. You get the point. I want to eat cheese. I want to eat bacon. Oh, maybe a bacon, egg, and cheese. You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, now we get it. Now we can put something together because we work together. You know, you got to understand that. You got two eyes, two ears, two hands, two legs, two nuts. It's your guy. You know, and two ovaries, your lady. Like, you got two of everything. So understand that, comprehend that, and understand it now. Because a lot of people, they end up getting diagnosed with like bipolar and shit because they don't understand the fact that they have these two things. And especially if you're neurodivergent, shoot, you're going to have to understand that because the feedback system is way quicker than the average person, especially if you put caffeine up in that. I'm telling you, you got to learn how to do that. You know, cooking is very important. Just on a random note, you got to learn how to cook, man, and know when to cook. Optimize that shit. When you know what's the most important stuff, optimize it. Get to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, optimize it as fast as possible. And you have to know what the most important things are at all times. Know what the most important things are so you're never in a rush. A lot of people got urgency but no direction. They just panicking. So you got to learn how to actually, you know, man, when you can structure yourself, everything becomes easy. Hyperstructure yourself. Like unapologetically hyperstructure yourself. And you're gonna have people saying, yo, you too this, you too that. That's a good thing. That means you're becoming more of who you are. That means you're becoming more of who you're supposed to be. Do that. Do that crazy shit. Do whatever crazy thing you think you're supposed to do to calibrate yourself and structure yourself. You will thank yourself for it. And trust, the more you do that for yourself, the more other people will also be able to fall in line with those things too. Because think about it, you're already the leader of your own world. You're the leader. You're the one pioneering everything, unless you copy and paste everything everybody else does. And still, because you're the curator of all that stuff. You're the one kind of art directing all the stuff that you get to pick and be like, oh, I like that color. I want that color on here. I want that there. And then put it, you're the one putting this stuff together. So you got to understand that, create structure for yourself. And that's going to help you in the long run, very long run. All the structure you create for yourself is going to help you, all of that. I'm working hard on making longer episodes. I really want to do a 30-minute episode. If I get to 25, if I get to 28, who knows? I want to go further. I want to go longer. That's what he said. All kinds of stuff, man. I'm happy I got this live mic here. Because ultimately, this is gonna help a lot more. Because I'm a hand talker. I love talking with my hands. You know what I'm saying? I put stuff together, and then you kind of see it kiss when I make it kiss. I want to wear a hat too. I want to wear my cowboy hat. I want you guys to see me wearing the cowboy hat. I want you to see that. Oh my God, man. The vote, that hoodie. Ooh. The sweater now, actually. You guys gonna see it soon. You're gonna see me wearing it with a little laugh on it. It's good, yo. It's good. It's amazing, man. It's soft. It's stylish. 100% organic cotton. Shoot, man. Dope. It's dope. Yeah, man, there's all kind of really great things going on, and you gotta. There's all kinds of stuff you could do, man. There's all kinds of stuff you could structure and put together for yourself in a beautiful way that helps give you direction and helps give you peace, clarity, and clarity nowadays, man. All kinds of distractions and stuff. You don't need none of that. You don't need none of that. There's too many distractions nowadays to be just so that's another thing too. You gotta wake up early. Because when you wake up early, you get to see how where everything is. And you stop blaming yourself for everything. You stop blaming yourself for everything. Uh, and because you're actively taking control of what you can, and you're rolling with the punches of what you can't. You know, waking up early is a great chance at developing balance for yourself. It's important. You need balance. You need a lot of balance, and you need it as soon as possible. Because the more balance you have, the more balance you have, the more you just you could feel it. You could feel the balance. You could feel it. Yeah, balance, at least for me, feels a lot like, how does balance feel like? Balance feels like I could sit down and not let myself get stressed out. Or I could sit down and be present. I could sit down and feel gratitude and happiness and joy for myself. What does not balance? Oh, and it also feels a little bit warm. Feels warm and cozy. That's the word. It feels cozy. Balance feels cozy. Sometimes balance feels cold. That's the thing. That's why, I never really went with the word balance because it feels like it's way too brittle. It's such a brittle state. And the thing is, life doesn't work that way. You need to be more harmonious. You got to have harmony in your life. What does harmony feel like? Harmony feels a lot like music. And that's what you really want to go for. Because I think when people talk about balance, they talk about a finite concept. But you're not a finite being, you're an infinite being. So you probably best use harmony to describe all that stuff, right? Right. You know? You need more harmony in your life. And there are ways to develop more harmony in your life. Obviously, that's why you're watching the episode. Is practice and drink lots of water. Oh my God, staying hydrated. Are you kidding me? That you just saw me drink water. Yo, you gotta stay hydrated. So hydrated to the point where you are like, you could sweat. If you can't sweat, you ain't hydrated. I don't think so. I don't think so. You put on a lot of clothes and you don't sweat, you're not hydrated. I don't think so. You can't be hydrated if you ain't sweating. You gotta hydrate. You gotta hydrate. Your brain takes up a lot of energy. You got two lobes. They're supposed to be going back and forth and doing all kinds of stuff. You supposed to be hydrated. And do things that promote bilateral stimulation. What is that? Oh, what is bilateral stimulation? You ask. Bilateral stimulation is, when you're running and you're just figuring things out as you run, or when you're walking, and you're just in a state of, damn, I know everything. On the Devote hoodie, on the back, is the Zen Eye. What is the Zen Eye? The Zen Eye is the place. It's the place where it's the place of all knowing in a way. It's the place where you go to when you're creating something. It's the place of the flow. You copy? You copy sloppy? Pause. It's that place. It's where you go. Is where you feel the most at home because you know where you're going, you know how you feel, and not even just how you feel, like you know, you comprehending yourself. It's the place. I think it's the place of self understanding and self study. I think that's what the Zen truly is. If you're a carpenter, if you're a painter, whatever you are, like you get into that flow state, you start understanding and figuring things out. This is why I believe that humans are are like this is bound to the principle of like wisdom, because I think when you develop more wisdom for yourself, right? Uh you're understanding things that you've already understood in the past. It's not, like you're remembering a lot. Like that's really what I think you're doing. You're remembering. And that's what I think it is. I'm looking at the time. Like, shit, did I go over? Yeah, I'm over by a minute. All right. Well, thank you for watching. As always, a link to the mentorship will be down below. What is that? Oh, the mentorship? Calling, purpose, your own vision. You want those? You need those? You need a direction? You need to gain more clarity behind yourself? You got to understand, oh, where am I going in life? Maybe you got a career, or you don't have one and you want to understand what kind of career you might want to go into. The mentorship is a place where I help you one-on-one create a systematic process behind understanding your calling and venturing off into your purpose. Very important. Very, very important. And appointments are currently $175. A link will be down below. If you got anything from this episode, please leave a like. And lastly, to stay connected with the community and everything that's going on in it, sign up for the newsletter. I will leave one single link down below where you can find all that. Love you.